I'm just a white bread.
What could a man with money, a wife, and 5 kids possibly want more in life? Apparently, hard drugs.
Description act of. Dude, why would you write a statement that's so hard to read?
And fighting with internet strangers.
I don't trust any of you, and I hope all of you catch gonorrhea from that white face paint you put on. You disgust me.
This is how Nick...
Pepperoni pizza? No, it was actually anchovies. It was anchovies. Had an anchovy pizza.
Rekieta went from internet lawyer to criminal lawyer.
I'm done. I'm done with life.
All right, that sentence right there, I think, sums up Nick Rekieta for the last couple of years. Like, before we even dive into this, I'm gonna say this right off the bat. My theory on what has caused Nick Rekieta to start acting like this is simply thus. I think Nick Rekieta has reached the middle point of his life. And for years and years and years, he espoused these family, Christian, traditional values. But I think he reached the middle point of his life. And in his mind, he feels like he's wasted his life. He feels like, he could have had this very hedonistic, quote unquote, fun life. But at least his definition of fun. And the wife and the kids and the commitment to the church got in the way of that. And now he's regretting it. And he's angry and he's mad. And he hates what he's become. And that fucking disgusts me. That disgusts me. Because he had it all, man. He had the money. He had the wife. He had the kids. He had people that loved him. And he just threw it all away. And in my mind, I can't comprehend how you choose your hedonism, your drugs, your sex, your carnal desires over the good, easy life you had. The fuck is wrong with you? Do you have any idea what some people would do to have the life you did? And you threw it all away. You disgust me. So Turkey Tom is on Twitter. I gotta find him, man. I like Turkey Tom. Turkey Tom's cool. He envies Diddler Dax, Dick Masters. Dick Masterson's take. We're gonna do a separate stream where we're gonna go over the people that are defending Nick Rekieta. But Dick Masterson's take is just as asinine as Ethan Van Sciver's, for sure. All right, let's continue.
Long before Nick ever had aspirations to become a lawyer, he went to Southwest Minnesota State University to get a degree in literature and creative writing. It was during this period, in his early 20s, that he met Kayla, his future wife, who was attending the same university. Though they've remained remarkably private about their kids and kept pictures of them squarely out of the internet, probably wise given the state of things, we do know that Kayla became a stay-at-home mom in 2007, soon after they had their first child. The pregnancy and having to pay the bills are probably what made Nick take up work in customer service for Wells Fargo around the same time. Fortunately for him, he only had to stay there for a little over a year, as he managed to get a much more prestigious job as a brokerage representative at Thrivent Financial for Lutherans, an organization that provided services like life insurance and retirement planning, and at the time employed only Lutheran Christians, indicating that this was Nick's religion. For 3 years, Nick had a life many people would—
Wait. I thought Nick was a Mormon. I could be wrong.
kill to have. He was in his mid-20s, he had a wife, a kid, and presumably another kid on the way, and a good-paying job in a charitable Christian organization. But even then, he had the ambition to do more, and in early 2010, he stopped working for Thrivent, and, based solely on what's on his LinkedIn page, spent the rest of the year without a job and enrolled in a law school the year after, followed by another 4 years without formal employment. I can't say for sure how he afforded to do this. There could have been unemployment payments involved, at least early on, but it's hard to believe that they lasted for a total of half a decade in a household with 5 or 6 people.
He's a trust fund baby. He has a trust fund. He's a trust fund baby. That's how he survived. He had a silver spoon in his mouth. He was privileged. Most people can't do that. Most people can't do what he did. He's a trust fund baby.
Only having to pay bills, but also pay for law school. On the surface, it's a mystery how Nick stayed unemployed for that long, but it's been speculated that him being able to do this is directly involved with the passing of his grandfather, a veteran from the Korean War who happened to pass away just half a year prior to his enrollment. While there are no documents proving the inheritance, we do know that he had some degree of proximity with his grandfather, since Nick grew up in his grandfather's hometown of Houston. And here's how we know this fun fact.
I'm just a dumb motherfucking who's never heard of the streets. I don't know about the streets, right? I don't know where you grew up, but where I grew up was the #1 crime neighborhood in Houston, Texas in the 80s. People got shot every fucking day.
Later on, there's another grandfather inheritance theory that's much more substantial.
Chris, that is Turkey Tom's whole channel. Like, have you never seen Turkey Tom? That is his whole channel. His videos are deep dives into YouTube personalities, well, famous personalities, and like the drama and the downfall of people. That is Turkey Tom's whole channel. He's not just doing it on Rekieta. He's done it on lots of people. Hell, he did it on Boogie recently.
But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. By 2015, he got his diploma and opened a business, Rekieta Law, leasing out an office and everything. At this point, despite having long left Thriven, it seemed Nick was still very much a conservative, religious person, as remnants of his now deleted activity on Twitter show him arguing with people about atheism, which at the time was very much in vogue as far as internet controversial topics went. Further bolstering his conservative personality were the posts he made online, occasionally tackling contentious subjects like the Black Lives Matter riots, but nothing too risky or radical. However, by late 2017, those same dead footprints of Twitter activity show that Nick was beginning to engage with the seedy underbelly of alternative internet personalities. Namely, he participated in discussions regarding the brewing conflict between Dick Masterson from The Dick Show and his former associate, Maddox. This conflict erupted into a lawsuit, dubbed the LOL suit by many, due to how incompetently the suit was put together. I'm no law buff, but from what I can glean, Maddox was asking for $20 million while citing Kiwi Farms posts as evidence of the damages Dick supposedly caused him. Regardless of the suit's merits, or lack thereof, Nick, who was already interested in this niche culture, saw this drama becoming litigious as an opportunity for him to further become a part of this community, and so he did. In November 2017, he began posting a series of videos in which he carefully reviewed the files and gave his legal opinion on them.
You all by now have probably read this, but I'm going to go through and give you my learned legal opinion, which is pretentious and everything. So I'm going to do that with this bottle of Balmore Scotch, which is fantastic. And we're going to see how this goes. So just bear with me.
It's very fitting that the first video, which indirectly led to his current situation, has Nick opening a bottle of scotch in the first 30 seconds. Many more episodes of Nick's review of the LOL suit ensued, and by January 2018, he had achieved his objective of becoming recognized in this little corner of the internet, as Dick invited him to take part in one of the episodes of The Dick Show. Possibly due to the advice he had been receiving from people who were following his uploads, he began live streaming his lawsuit reviews on YouTube since they were all unedited anyway. While Nick gained reputation with Dick and his cohorts, he made himself an enemy of Maddox, who eventually went on something of a campaign to label Nick as the blackface lawyer. While I refrain from commenting on the implications this may have, Nick, along with his non-Yakubian counterpart, Drexel, directly addressed the origins of this picture.
Context is Halloween. It's at my house. We have a group of very close friends, maybe five, six people.
2005. I came to visit, and everyone.
Wait. Let me go. Let me see the picture again. Hold up.
Episodes of The Dick Show. Possibly due to the advice he had been receiving from people who were following his uploads, he began live streaming his lawsuit reviews on YouTube since they were all unedited anyway. While Nick gained reputation with Dick and his cohorts, he made himself an enemy of Maddox, who eventually went on something of a campaign to label Nick as the blackface lawyer.
Ooh. Wow. Okay, now that's new to me. That's new to me. See, I started watching Nick Rekieta during like the Johnny Depp, Kyle Rittenhouse era. This? Yo, I wish Extra Hero was on right now, dog. Like, Extra Hero would be freaking the fuck out. Yo. Okay.
While I refrain from commenting on the implications this may have, Nick, along with his non-Yakubian counterpart, Drexel, directly addressed the origins of this picture.
Context is Halloween. It's at my house. We have a group of very close friends,
Yep.
maybe five, six people.
2005. I came to visit, and all of our friends get together. And then at that point, you're like, look, and then here it is, Nick in blackface, and it's hilarious because he's going as me.
I had borrowed your headband.
You borrowed the headband, and you're rocking the afro that I was rocking at that time.
Yeah.
And
someone actually said that's not the same guy. He's bald.
In spite of whatever one's opinion may be on blackface, it's clear from the context that it wasn't done in a mean-spirited fashion, and if anything, emboldened Nick's reputation with the crowd he'd been mingling with, who saw it as proof that, despite being a lawyer, he had a sense of humor. Fortunately for him, despite his strong association with this crowd, he wasn't at all limited to making content that catered to them. As a matter of fact, he made content on pretty much any litigation-related topic he could get his hands on, and every once in a while, it drew in a new crowd of people. Part of why his streams were appealing to people, in spite of how boring the average person would find listening to someone translate legalese for hours on end, his analysis was so charming and easy for a layman to understand that people actually wanted to give him money through super chats to support his streams. The first significant bout of traction Nick was involved in was the case of sexual harassment accusations surrounding Vic Mignogna. In early 2019, Vic, a voice actor who often appeared in
Wait, how did he pronounce that name?
support his streams. The first significant bout of traction Nick was involved in was the case of sexual harassment accusations surrounding Vic Mignogna.
What? It's Vic Mignogna. The second G is silent. It's Vic Mignogna. Vic Mignogna. What the fuck?
In early 2019, Vic, a voice actor who often appeared in anime dubs, had a series of accusations levied against him, which caused him to lose job opportunities and convention appearances. In response, he filed a defamation suit against his employer, Funimation, as well as other voice actors, and Nick organized a GoFundMe page for Vic's case. Well, not exactly. The actual beneficiary of the page was an attorney called Ty Beard, a personal acquaintance of Nick's who founded and managed a private equity firm and dealt primarily with mergers and acquisitions, not defamation lawsuits. Again, I'm in no way a legal expert, but if you're gonna conduct a lawsuit, especially one that was as high profile as this was set out to be, you better get someone on it who is specialized on that kind of lawsuit, not a random attorney. The thing is, Ty was anything but random to Nick, but in order to really explain their relationship, I'll have to take a step back and make a significant detour here to tell you about a man named Lewis Walter Owen. Lewis was the founder and eventually president of a company called Petrofac, an international company worth hundreds of millions. Based on one extremely autistic, in a good way, KF user's analysis of stock exchange data, Lewis's shares of Petrofac were worth anywhere from $132 to $194 million, and that's after he donated $3.2 million of his shares to charity. From $110,000 donated to a university to around $800,000 donated through the Owen Family Foundation each year, totaling around $40 million as of 2011, meaning it's probably way more now. Lewis and his wife were very Catholic and donated a whopping $18 million to build a hospital that still carries their name to this day. And these are just a few of their charitable acts. Basically, they were the real-life Martha and Thomas Wayne, true philanthropists who spent their life trying to give as much money as they could to help their neighbor. So why is any of this relevant? Well, the person appointed as
So you mean rich people actually doing good things as rich people? That's a rarity. That's a rarity. Actually using their money and influence to help the human race. All right. I got all the warm and fuzzies from that. Hit me with the sad and depressing, Turkey Tom.
Secretary and treasurer of the Owen Family Foundation was Lewis's daughter, Celeste, Nick Rekieta's mother. Lewis Owen passed away in 2018, followed by his wife just a year later, but he left behind a will, leaving his inheritance to his children. The executor of this will, who signed his name on the document, was none other than Ty Beard. Oh yeah, it's all coming together. You see, Nick has a history of claiming that he grew up in the worst neighborhood of Houston, Texas, and truly knew the streets as the OG white bread N-word. Additionally, he's claimed that his family's ability to afford all of their kids and homeschool them has nothing to do with having money, because according to him, they were already doing it when they were flat broke and unemployed before he went to law school. This means he's necessarily talking about the time period prior to 2011 when he began law school. But there's a little issue with that. In comments sourced from a Rumble stream of his from October 2023, he bought a house for $269,000 in 2009, 2 years before law school. Wasn't he supposed to be dead broke and raising 2 kids at this point? But that's just the tip of this iceberg. In November 2018, around the same time Lewis passed, Nick bought a house for $650,000. And by the time the Vic lawsuit began, early 2019, he claimed he wasn't making any mortgage payments, suggesting the house had already been paid for. All of this information can be verified by checking publicly available information about him, although I can't.
Dude, Trump is not Bruce Wayne. I'm sorry, but Trump is not Bruce Wayne. Trump is not dressing up as Batman every night, going out and fighting crime. All right, that's just not happening. That's crazy.
Can't put it here since it would technically constitute a dox. His streaming was doing very well, sure, and being a lawyer does pay well. But he does live in a rural area and probably doesn't have that many clients, especially considering his office never expanded or moved to a larger location. Based on what's available, there was never a stream of income that easily explained the purchase of either of his houses or him paying for law school. Of course, this is all speculation, and he has publicly denied getting any significant amount of money from his grandparents. However, it's really hard to believe or understand how he could afford his lifestyle. But let's get back on track. Vic's GoFundMe raised almost $300,000, all of which went to...
Hold up. So here's the thing with this. What is it about these people that are born into wealth to where they have to go out and try and say, oh, I grew up in the streets. I was in the streets. Blah, 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 blah. I had to struggle. Like, is it just a flex? Do they feel some sense of guilt? Some misplaced sense of guilt? Like, what is it? Like, where does this desire come from? Where does this need come from to try and flex? Your struggle, I guess? Like, does no one else find that to be creepy? It's LARPing? It's LARPing, really. I find it hard they resent being born wealthy. You know what I think it is? I think it's their attempt to try and connect with the average person, to try and connect with people outside of their social bubble, I guess you could say. And especially for somebody that's an online personality like Rekieta. You know, like, I'm going to try and relate to my viewers. It's like, dude, the viewers can sense when you're being dishonest. The viewers can sense when you're lying. Like, people can pick up on shit like that, and it's not attractive at all. Law and Crime Network just did a story on Baldo, 5.89 million subscribers. Law and Crime. Oh, that's one that was like covering like Johnny Depp and stuff, isn't it? Simple. In modern culture, rich and wealth are despised. Thus, in order to fit in, they pretend to be lower class. Is it though? Is it though? Because if being rich and wealthy was despised, why do so many people protect these corporations, these rich CEOs? You know, like, why are they always standing up for these guys? You know, like, oh, don't tax them. Don't go after them. You know, that's wrong, you know. So I don't know. But then again, America is a nation of contradictions in so many levels. Nick was specifically saying that he grew up in the hood, though. He didn't. Listen, Nick Rekieta grew up in the hood as much as Eric July grew up in the hood. Nick was Eminem. That's an insult to Eminem, dude. Ethan Ralph said he's blacker than Bryson Wow. I got to check out this Ethan Ralph guy. Because I've only recently found out about him. What real life people could you put into one to actually make Batman? I don't know. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head that's as noble and decent and self-sacrificing as Batman would be, in all honesty.
Waste since the suit failed catastrophically. Nick, on the other hand, was doing fine and dandy and went by completely unscathed, moving on to cover the Rittenhouse trial, which gave his online presence another boom in popularity, with over 100,000 live viewers at one point. His growth got to...
Damn. I want 100,000 live viewers. Well, it's just weird. It's just a weird thing. People hate the rich, but also want to be rich. He's LARPing as Eminem. There is a movie called 1776. It's about the founding fathers, and one of them that was opposed to the Constitution actually said, you know, the people will continue to vote in the elite and the wealthy, and support certain economic policies that, even though they're detrimental to them, they'll support certain economic policies that do not punish the rich, in the slim hope that they themselves will one day be rich. And they would rather hold on to that false hope than to ever admit the truth that they're poor. So that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense, to be honest with you. Who the fuck is Carl Schmidt? All right, let's continue.
To the point that the corporation responsible for streaming the trial footage he was reacting to sent him a cease and desist, essentially accusing him of copyright violation for restreaming their stuff, despite there obviously being a significant amount of commentary over it. Many things can be said about Nick Rekieta, but he was one of, if not the most successful content creator in his genre. Nick Rekieta was long established at this point, but the Rittenhouse trial really sent him up in an unforeseen way as far as his YouTube popularity. And fortunately, at this point, while his alcohol consumption was still present and often featured throughout the entire streams, the most it ever led to was Nick sounding a bit tipsy. Soon after the Rittenhouse boom came another one, the Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp trial, one of the most discussed trials in recent years and Nick's biggest claim to fame. His series covering the trial has 24...
This is where I subscribe to Nick Rekieta. This is where I subscribe to Nick Rekieta. Like when it came to the Johnny Depp trial, Nick Rekieta's coverage was the coverage that I was watching. Like, I was on his channel hardcore back in the day.
episodes, with most episodes running for well over 8 hours. The very last episode having over 1 million views and a whopping 10 hours of video length. Just imagining the kind of obscene money this guy was making off of AdSense makes me sick, meaning please give it all to me. If he wasn't already rolling in it at this point, he absolutely was now. The insane amount of traction his channel was getting began drawing the ire of other law-tubers, but nothing to write home about, considering his viewership and relevance far superseded anything they could say about him. However, things began getting serious when Nick commented on Alex Jones's trial regarding his statements about Sandy Hook, in which Nick said, "Sometimes it feels like freedom of speech is dead." Right around the same time, one of his Amber Heard videos got copyright striked by NBC, and when he disputed it, he wrote the following message: "NBC is a pile of human garbage. In fact, they use money and power to suppress the voices of the people they attempt to brainwash and spoon-feed."
Alex Jones is such a joke. I'm just being real. Alex Jones is a joke. Like, if you believe that snake oil salesman, you're crazy. You're crazy.
They're regurgitated bullshit on a daily basis. I imagine NBC's lawyers are actually reading this material and debating over real legal work, just wishing they were involved like the cucks they are. No one watching my content would ever actually watch the NBC video in virgin form because NBC is a lie.
The fact that Nick Rekieta would call anybody a cuck is very fucking ironic.
Heap. My content adds the necessary expertise and background information for people to return an informed opinion on the matter presented rather than be spoon-fed apple juice from a bunch of communists. While the dispute did clear him of the copyright strike, he wasn't safe for long, as not long after, he received a terms of service.
Oh yeah, I heard that April is back with them. Yeah, I heard that April is back with him. He had a live-in harem. I mean, as far as I know, Kayla was getting fucked too by Aaron, so that would still make him a cuck.
Service strike for showing blood, which is more serious and will get you banned far more reliably than copyright. And as a result, he was suspended. A while later, while discussing the Kiwi Farms versus Keffels debacle, he got himself in hot water once again when, in a heated gamer moment, he suggested people like Keffels, in the context of distributing HRT for minors, should face the wall. I'm not saying he's wrong to criticize these people, but this was recontextualized as a death threat against trans people. And as a result, he got another suspension in terms of service strike, meaning his channel was now hanging by a thread, and his future live streaming on YouTube was increasingly unsteady. The stress he was under made his problem with alcohol even more intense than before, and now there were large portions of some of his streams in which he was audibly drunk, saying the kind of things that get you banned real fast.
You want to take it from me? You better meet a f***ing...
Eventually, he did get kicked off the platform for a third TOS strike that was supposedly due to Nick doxing people, but in reality was the result of a mass flagging campaign conducted by Keffels' followers. This event was covered by journalists who, recognizing Rekieta's importance on the platform as pretty much the originator of the genre of law-related YouTube content, highlighted the injustice of YouTube allowing this mass flagging campaign to succeed and lamented the possibility that Nick could even get disbarred for the death threat allegations. Even if that didn't happen, Nick hadn't been practicing law, as he was dedicating all of his time to the channel, which in 2021 pulled in over $700,000 in revenue, which is crazy for content that's completely unedited. Soon after this ban,
$700,000 in YouTube revenue. This man really threw all of that away for drugs and sex. That's fucking disgusting.
and he took up streaming on Rumble, where he was still pulling in live viewership at the tens of thousands. Fortunately for him, his ban from YouTube was lifted.
What else are you going to do with $700,000? Go on vacations with your kids. Hell, given what we learned, feed your kids. Feed your fucking kids. Buy them new clothes. Go to sporting events. Good God, man. Not everything in this world's about drugs and sex. If that's all you have to fill your life, you're a sad, pathetic human being.
And he returned in October 2022. Because of his brush up against trans activism and censorship, his reputation as a sort of conservative figure became even stronger than it already was. Oh, how little they knew. As early as July, there were signs that something
All right, so what do you think about this whole Nick Rekieta thing?
Well, I think the Nick Rekieta situation is kind of sad, man. With the kids, in particular for them, but these adults, they got to get this shit together. It's a damn shame, I mean, you're studying law, so you shouldn't really be on YouTube like that, honestly. Now, everybody, this is a place where you can do some things and interact with people, and that's fine. But I don't know, man. I mean, drugs, and obviously the dude hasn't been looking all that well, throughout the months, and I guess he's spontaneously combust after this situation, man. So hopefully he can get his shit together. I mean, as far as I don't know every single detail, but as far as what I've seen, people talking about it, that's my assessment.
So here's the thing. I found out just today. So the lawyer that he had for his trial originally was a lawyer that he like dissed on YouTube, like called him like a dumbass and stuff. And then he asked for a change of a did I say lawyer? I meant judge, the judge. So the judge that was going to be over his case, he like dissed on YouTube. And then today he asked for a change in judge, and he got a change in judge. And it turns out that judge is actually very, very strict when it comes to substance abuse and child neglect, all the things that he's being accused of. So by asking for a change in judge, he may have just screwed himself over. Like I was seeing some of the sentences that this judge had handed out to other people. Like these are some long ass sentences. These are some harsh sentences. So I will not be surprised if it turns out that he's going to have to spend some jail time for sure. You there?
Oh, my bad. My bad. Can you hear me? Yeah, I was on mute.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah. No, you know, when you think about the child endangerment, the potentiality of child endangerment, that's something that I think the judge might look at. And there's some other situations, you know, that could be aligned with that situation with Nick and his wife. But I think I don't see that how he's gonna walk away from this without some kind of ruling.
No, I don't either. I think that given everything that's going on, given everything that's happening, and given the type of judge that this is, I mean, I could see. I was hearing earlier at least 4 years.
Oh shit. 4 years? Well, that's a harsh ruling.
Hold up, wait a minute. Badger says Nick is hosting a local stream tonight. That's really dumb. I mean, he's gonna end up, if he does that, he's going to probably say some stuff that if it gets out there, and trust me, it will get leaked. It will get leaked. If he says something really stupid, that's going to hurt him when it comes to his trial. That's going to hurt him with the criminal process. That's really dumb. That is really, 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 really. Listen, Nick needs to take the advice that he was giving Eric July this entire time, and that is shut the fuck up, Nick. Shut the fuck up, Nick.
That's what he needs to do. Shit. You don't want to go out like a fool, you know, in court, putting yourself out there. I don't think that's wise, man. I think if anything he should do, if he wanted to do a video, it's a short video, he should do a short video explaining you know, what the details of the situation is and the dire state that he might be in. You know, tell people to you know, keep him in their prayers or something like that. That's what he should be doing. But hosting a locals where you're gonna have different other people, like it's not wise, man.
No, it's not. It's and depending on what he says, like if he's not showing any kind of remorse or sense of guilt or anything like that, it is possible that, you know, when if the judge sees that, and it's gonna get leaked. I mean, let's just be real here. It's gonna get leaked. When the judge sees that, the judge is likely to give a harsher punishment because he's not showing any kind of remorse, any kind of, you know, sense of guilt or anything like that. And that doesn't play well in a criminal trial. It really doesn't.
Oh no, it does not. You know, and that's why, you know, because you never know. It's like this, man. Like, slip up, you know, publicly saying certain things, man. Like everything's public. I mean, it's going to be for the public's you know, domain. I mean, this is a public domain. People have access to it, so it's, you know, you have to be on your P's and Q's, you know, I don't know. I don't understand that shit, man. Like if I was in that situation, I wouldn't say shit. You know,
No, I wouldn't either. I wouldn't either. Let's see here. Red Fox says Nick's money, trust fund, cars, houses need to be taken away from Nick and given to Nick's kids. I'm fine with that. How is that communist? That's not communist. That's called justice. They're the victims, so they should get reparations. The cops are watching every move. It would not surprise me if the cops subscribe to Nick's social media. Oh, I'm sure they have. I'm sure they have. If Nick gets Ty Beard or Robert Barnes, Review Law USA, then Nick is getting, well, he's not going to get life, but Robert Barnes is, I am working on video, like gathering up clips and stuff from Robert Barnes and different people that are supporting Nick. I'm working on getting clips and stuff gathered together to do another live stream. It's supposed to be tonight's live stream, but obviously this video came out and this kind of took precedence, but we'll do another live stream talking about the Rekieta defenders for sure. For sure.
right?
All right. So let's jump back into the video.
Strange was afoot, beginning with Nick having pictures taken of him getting stepped on by girls in cosplay at the Anime Matsuri convention. Granted, his wife was already there, and this could easily be a simple joke, but it showed a side of Nick that people weren't familiar with. At the time, the most this could be interpreted as was that, despite being a family man, he comfortably engaged with less than PG or edgy concepts. However, with time, it was becoming clear that he was a little too comfortable. The person he had managing his Discord server, for example, regularly posted extreme hentai to his main Twitter account that would whiten the hair of even the most powerful gooner. This tipped people off that just maybe there was some activity going on in his server that wasn't so appropriate, and that suspicion was more than proven correct. Before I get into what was going on in the Discord, I have to give context by explaining what Nick and his wife were doing on the platform Locals. I can't really sugarcoat this. Pictures had surfaced of Nick Rekieta gripping a bottle with his butt cheeks. Likewise, pictures had surfaced of his wife doing that same thing.
Whoa! Whoa! What the fuck? What the fuck? Gripping a bottle with his ass cheeks? Are we serious? Is that how y'all get down in the Lutheran Church? Oh my God. As a tax attorney, Robert Barnes got Wesley Snipes 3 years or something, so he's definitely getting the max for Nick. Damn. All right, let's see, like I'm learning something new about Rekieta with like every 5 minutes of this video. So let's continue.
Along with other lewd images of her. All of these made their way to Nick's Discord server, partly because they were relevant to the fact that they were pics of Nick and his wife, but also because the server had an entire chat dedicated solely to not safe for work pictures, something that flew in the face of the conservative image many people had of him. When people brought this up to Nick as if it were an issue, he flippantly dismissed them, as if this wasn't totally incongruent with the rest of his online persona. One user said, "Listen, your wife posts pics of her booty online for strangers. This is the response bound to happen, so you're either in one of these positions. One, you don't care, but you still talk cucks and make fun of men for not having loyal wives. Two, you do care, and you are a cuck who wanted her to post her ass and get off on it. Or three, you were overpowered by her macho strength, and she is the alpha. It just makes you look like a hypocrite." I think Nick may be going the iDubbbz route. This was something of a game changer since all of the people in this Discord were paid subscribers of his, meaning even his close following wasn't cool with what was going on. People began questioning.
Wait a minute. Hold up. Weebaboo, how do you know this? Have you seen the picture? Have you seen the picture? What the fuck? Like, did you subscribe to Nick's Local? And you saw the picture was around. I don't want to fucking see it. I don't want to fucking see it. Oh, that's disgusting. Should have never put on the Sonic Chew medallion. I'm starting to think the medallion actually is legit cursed. Like, that's wild. God, man, Chris Chan just cannot leave the internet alone. Daggum.
Questioning his wife about this, to which she replied, "I like having fun. I think I have a beautiful body, and I love taking and sharing pictures. I wouldn't ever post actual nudes. I'm not fishing for compliments or trying to inflate my ego. Guys are proud of their cars and guns. I'm proud of the body I take care of. I'm having a good time, laughing with friends, and enjoying the beauty of the human body. Nick is my only partner. We don't fuck around, we aren't swingers, but I also don't care what other people do. It's none of my business. I'll let you be the judge of what that means." As for Nick, he eventually explained the bottle pics.
I have this locals live chat. Shout out to them. Pretty wild. It runs like 24 hours. Someone came up with this idea to do Wednesday, and people decided to post the bottle challenge, I guess. And I thought maybe like I should participate because like a whole bunch of my people are sitting here like posting their and so I took a joke picture of my and posted it in my locals. And now, what I have learned about myself since then is not what I expected. I have learned rather than just having a skinny white boy, I am not a Christian. My wife is now, and I am a cuckold watching other men have sex with her. Oh yeah, I'm a bad dad, and my kids will be scarred for life.
This already looked pretty weird, but
Well, that wasn't prophetic at all, was it?
Hey man, that dude's crazy.
I mean, daggum. I mean, he basically just predicted exactly what was going to happen to him. I mean, everything that would follow after this, he foreshadowed it. He foreshadowed his own downfall. That's fucking crazy.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna eat real quick.
Everyone stays away from that family here in Minnesota. Oh no, you're good, man. You're good. So you actually live near the Reketas? Is that what I'm understanding? God bless you. Nick is known as a womanizer degenerate. I mean, obviously, at this point, like, I don't know who can argue it. Let's continue.
believe me, it gets worse. Let me ask you a simple question here. Do you know what a baldo is? You're about to find out. From mid to late 2022, for whatever reason, Nick found himself discussing the baldo multiple times, even reviewing it at one point. It's a kind of torture device looking toy that turns your testicles into a second shaft. Based on what I can glean from these, his baldo review was originally meant exclusively for locals, but quickly made its way to the hands of clip channels and Kiwi farmers who'd already become disillusioned with Nick. The main domino piece that had to be tipped over in order for Nick's reputation with his following to be dragged through the mud came in the form of a rather innocuous video in which Nick and his wife celebrated their 18th marriage anniversary. In it, they reveal they're on vacation in the Caribbean, but don't specify where or even what country in the Caribbean. As usual, we can leave it up to KF to schizophrenically investigate the most ridiculous things and succeed in doing it. There are a few posts going over the specific strategies they employed in order to figure out where they were staying, such
Kiwi Farm does the Lord's work, man. Everyone loves him because he's, of course, it's fucking Minnesota. As somebody that lives in Tennessee, I don't find that to be surprising at all.
as comparing nude pictures they'd posted of themselves to the marketing material of a certain resort called Hedonism 2, which was famous for harboring swinger parties. We obviously can't show the bottom of this picture, but the shape of the island on the horizon is similar, and the difference in sizes can easily be explained by photography. Eventually, both Nick and his wife's Instagram accounts began following two male strippers by the names of Ricardo and Romaine, both of whom worked at Hedonism 2, and they followed Nick back. Honestly, I don't think this much.
Hold up. Like, is Nick just, I was going to say, is he gay? But I guess bisexual would be more accurate. Is the man just a bisexual? Like, I don't get what it is with these guys. Like, if they're bisexual, just come out and fucking say it. It's 2024, for God's sakes. It's fucking Pride Month. Just stop pretending. Jesus Christ.
Schizo research was necessary since Nick was already well on the path to admitting it anyway. One example of his lack of concern about denying it and maintaining his image was when he got asked about hedonism during a live stream, and this is all he had to say.
Nick, did you see that conspiracy theory? And I had to know this because, I joke about this all the time. You talk about the Baldo. Did you see there's an internet rumor about the hedonism where you were at a sex resort? I have to know. I've been looking. I have to know if that's the case.
It's simple. I don't talk about where I go, but all internet rumors are always true.
Okay.
Additionally, he
Wait a minute. Hold up. I don't live in Spicer. Aaron's neighbor won't look or talk to him anymore after all this came out. I live in the rich suburb of St. Cloud, Minnesota. Wow. Okay. Let me talk about this for a second. Robert Barnes lives in Tennessee. Nick was in Knoxville for an event years ago. So I live in Tennessee. I'm like an hour's drive from fucking Knoxville. That's embarrassing. These people, if you can call them that, are associated with my state. That's pretty embarrassing.
He openly admitted to doing MDMA and mushrooms during this vacation, which once again informed the audience of what kind of person Nick was becoming. A little while after the Hedonism 2 event came and went, another popped up. On December 15th, 2022, Nick said he was going with his wife to an underwear bar to celebrate his birthday.
You cannot get in if you're wearing clothes. You have to wear underwear. She's in underwear. I'm in underwear. We're gonna go have a fucking blast. That's Saturday. Friday is karaoke night at the same bar. We're gonna go do karaoke night. We're gonna have fun, probably, sing some shitty songs or whatever. And then I don't know what we're going to do the rest of the time because those are it's literally an hour out of each night that we're going to do that. Other than that, I don't know. She's got a bunch of surprises planned for me.
Again, I have no idea why he keeps being so vague about this stuff since he's talking about embarrassing shit anyway. If you're going to drunk blab about your private degeneracy in public, you might as well be specific because people are going to figure it out. Once again, KF was on the job and correlated the underwear bar statement with a few other things he'd said about his birthday plans, eventually landing on a certain establishment called Gay 90s, which was the only one holding an underwear party at exactly the same time Nick was going to attend one, in the same city Nick had claimed it was going to take place. The schizophrenia goes to another level when the same poster who collected this information managed to use Snapchat to find people who posted videos of themselves at Gay 90s during the time Nick would have been there, and they managed to find this clip with a somewhat recognizable voice talking in the background. Again, none of this is particularly damning were it not for the fact that Nick, for a very long time, made fun of.
Yo, the man went to a bar called Gay 90s. Just fucking admit it, Nick. You like a little bit of the. Just admit it. Jeez. Stop. Listen, you can lie to us. You can't lie to yourself, Nick.
cucks, and joked about gay people from the perspective of someone who wasn't in line with those lifestyles. Now, he was attending underwear parties in gay bars and going to swinger resorts. Though this part is a lot less relevant compared to the previous revelations, Nick also decided to gift himself a Mustang GT 500. And though I'm sure he made a lot of money off of YouTube, we have to remember that a significant part of what's allowed all of this to take place was allegedly Grandpa Owen's tugboat money, whom I can only imagine is doing cartwheels in the grave. But being the derelict alcoholic he already was at this point, it comes as
one more time.
Remember that a significant part of what's allowed all of this to take place was allegedly Grandpa Owen's tugboat money, whom I can only imagine is doing cartwheels in the grave. But being the derelict alcoholic he already was at the
do not piss off the farms. They're better than a private invest. No. I'm not pissing. Listen, I'm being dead ass serious. Like when I say that Kiwi Farms is doing the Lord's work, I mean that like in all sincerity. Like Kiwi Farms, as far as like the Rekieta situation, a lot of this stuff with Eric July, Kiwi Farms has done some amazing work. They've done some amazing work. Absolutely. Like, no. I'm not shitting on Kiwi Farms at all, man. In fact, it's probably Kiwi Farms that's going to get us the body cam video. They're probably going to get us the body cam footage. And yeah, I can't. Oh, you know when that comes out, they were going to be going live. Absolutely. No. I feel you, Badger. I feel you. What's up, Idol? What is up?
this point, it comes as no surprise that within 48 hours of him having the Mustang, Dex, one of his main and longtime associates, revealed in the stream that Nick wasn't going to be streaming because he had driven his car off the road, presumably damaging the vehicle since it had to be towed away. Nick himself, however, doesn't seem to have admitted to this happening since his post about not streaming that night never mentions it. Despite having been visibly irritated by people's speculation about his midlife crisis, he tries to downplay it.
Nick, you're getting eviscerated by Kiwi Farms. You gotta chill, dude. Maybe you don't know. Kiwi Farms influence? That's what it is.
It's worth noting that at this point, one can frequently notice Nick is jittering during his streams. That's what happens to someone who is so frequently drunk that their body gets used to inebriation to the point that whenever they're insufficiently under the influence, their body uncontrollably shakes. Meanwhile, Nick's YouTube career trudged on without much of a hitch, as the average viewer was still turning in to see things like his interview with Kyle Rittenhouse. However, the closer following was heavily disconnecting from seeing what Nick was saying about his personal life, essentially rewriting himself as this libertine person who was never morally opposed to the things he was now partaking in.
Oh no, homie, I've always been a sex pervert.
It's also at this point that he slowly begins to lose weight, further worrying the people concerned for his health, especially since now he was open about doing other drugs besides alcohol. Whatever clout he retained with other content creators was soon to run out if he continued on his path of self-destruction. Right now, I'll take another brief detour to tell you about a rap.
Hold up. People on my street drive Audi, Lexus, and BMWs, as well as GMC trucks. Lots of money in the area I live. They do not like people like Nick. Mine are very... Okay, so the reason they don't like... So you're saying they're very Roman Catholic. So the reason they don't like Nick is because Nick is a Lutheran, and Martin Luther literally divided the church. Like, he separated from the Catholic Church. They still haven't let that shit go. They still haven't let that shit go. You know, the Lutherans will say, well, we're the real Catholic Church. And the Catholics are like, get out of here. So that's why. You know that's what it is, right? That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. I'm joking, but let's continue. Nick would fit in well with his Lincoln Navigator and Mustang 500 GT. Well, apparently he wrecked the Mustang, so he doesn't have that anymore. I guess he still has the Lincoln Navigator, though.
Rabbit hole that is Nick's relationship with someone named Mandy. For starters, here is a clip of Nick talking to them.
Mandy, if I were single, you would never be single again.
Pretty unusual stuff for a married guy to say in a public live stream, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. Mandy had been an avid super chatter since at least 2020, and a former follower of Nick's posted some lore to KF, saying, I can confirm that Mandy and one of the chat mods, C. Goody, were flirting, at least as far as them saying it in chat on Nick's night streams sometime around Rittenhouse. While we do have an archived comment from C. Goody confirming that they were at least close and on very good terms with each other, Mandy's relevance is made evident in one moment during a very drunk stream of Nick's in which he says,
look, Mandy, I'm telling you this right now, Mandy, show up to Anime Matsuri. I will 100%, I will sign your tickets.
This is some true hypergamy at work here. Mandy went from flirting with one of the mods to being one, all the way to flirting with the big man himself. Apparently, there was a strong push behind the scenes for Mandy to actually go to the Anime Matsuri thing so that their IRL meetup could happen. But Mandy was the one who had shut it down hard, according to one of the people who claimed to have familiarity with the inner workings of Rekieta's community. But, much to his embarrassment and our cringe enjoyment about what I'm about to make you witness, it didn't stop at his awkward-ass flirting. It evolved all the way to him serenading Mandy during a stream.
Oh, Mandy, you came and you teased with the picture.
Eventually, all of this culminated in the clip I played earlier, where we can see Nick, a husband and father of 5, shirtless, nipples protruding, disgusting, gratuitously fawning over some random chick who's posting boobs in his locals chat. This was such a move on his part that it even got him to recognize that it was a mistake, and one of the miraculous instances of Nick expressing regret over an action of his. In Discord messages he exchanged with someone who had asked him about the weird, parasocial, and sexual relationship he was developing with his fans on locals, along with the rumors being spread on KF, he said, I've made loads of changes in everything I do since December. You know what I learned? No one cares. No one gets unpissed. The majority of people don't notice. Trying to fight people's fictions is exhausting and unproductive. There's a genre of fiction created about my life now, and it's wildly interesting, but reality is much more mundane. I'm a busy husband and father who has to balance the realities of a crammed family schedule with being an accessible member of new media. You bring up the Mandy thing. Yeah, it was a bad couple of minutes, and of course, I asked Alyssa, the owner of the Clips channel, to take it down. I was in a real shitty slump for a lot of reasons and exceedingly intoxicated. The fun side of streaming is that your worst moments have the same chances of being recorded as your best. That was a bad one, and it hurt a lot of people. I could try and wrangle excuses for it, but I never have. My wife does not have an OnlyFans where she sells nude pictures or videos. Some people have a problem with pictures we post in locals, and that's fine. But frankly, I never found those pictures to be sexually suggestive or even that risque. For a brief moment, he seems to have become lucid about his excessive alcohol consumption harming his judgment, but the same cannot be said for the pictures he and his wife posted to locals. Again, not to...
All right, so Red Fox. Here's the thing. The lawyer that he's getting, because he requests for a change of lawyer, because the other lawyer he was talking about, he was talking, or the other lawyer that he had before was one that he had talked shit about, and so he requests a change of, I keep saying lawyer, fuck me, dog. Ugh. The judge, holy shit. The judge he was going to have was a judge that he talked shit about. So he requests for a change of judge, and now the new judge he has a history of being very strict on punishments for substance abuse and child neglect. The two things that he is accused of. The two things that he is accused of. And the judge is very strict about punishing those things. So to me, that says that he has fucked himself. He has fucked himself over. Like, I've been saying, he needs to go fuck himself. Well, he just did. Now, is he going to get like the 25 years that everybody is talking about? Probably not. But I've been hearing rumors it could be like 4 years or something, which is still a very long time, dude. And it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me at all. Weebaboo says Nick crashed the Mustang for the dumbest reason. He didn't want to wait for the dealership to deliver it with winter tires, so he went there to collect it himself and drive it through the snow. What the fuck? Oh my God, he has no impulse control, man. No wonder he's an addict. Also, if you're worried about driving through the winter, for the love of God, just get a Subaru, man, or a Jeep, or a Bronco, or a Forerunner, something that can go in the snow. Like, damn.
Judge, but I think you'll have a hard time saying that an up-close picture of a woman's butt in lingerie isn't risque. It's sad enough that Nick stooped this low in the first place for essentially no reason. He had nothing to gain, and everything to lose as far as his reputation went. However, it gets a little more sad and embarrassing when you discover that there's more to Mandy than meets the eye.
Red Fox, can he request a new judge again? I don't know. From what I understand, as far as the legal situation the legal situation, I can't pronounce the name of the fucking county, dude. I can never pronounce the fucking county. The county in which Nick Rekieta resides. As far as I know, one of the laws there is that if you request a change of judge within like a certain time frame, the request is automatically granted. As far as if he can do that again, I don't know, but I want to say no. Because if you can just keep requesting a change of judge, I would think that would clog up the legal system big time. Weebaboo says, no, Nick is a legal genius that outsmarted law to because Minnesota automatically grants it once. Yes. Okay, so he requested a change in judge, and then he got a judge that is known to have a history for punishing the crimes he is charged with very, very severely. And people are calling that a win? No, the dude may have just fucked himself over big time. And he's supposed to be a legal genius. Yeah.
For starters, Mandy suspiciously could never make her microphone work and take part in the voice chat, and that old picture of her boobs was discovered to be taken from a monitor as opposed to simply posted directly to the chat. This prompted the schizophrenic KF gumshoes to get on it once more, and they quickly found out that all of the pictures Mandy had ever sent were stolen from random places online, resized, and edited to make it look like it was taken from a bad Nokia phone. Eventually, it was discovered Mandy was from Israel and had played over 5,000 hours of Team Fortress 2. Upon finding this out, the immediate conclusion everyone jumped to was that Mandy was a man with a dick. A circumcised one at that, if the Israel thing is true. It's technically uncertain that Mandy is a man.
So the quote-unquote woman that Nick was flirting with has a dick. Has a penis, is a man. When is he just gonna straight up admit, like, listen, guys, here's the truth. I'm bisexual. I go both ways. Sometimes I like putting the dick in the pussy. Sometimes I like the dick in the bussy. You know what I'm saying? Happy Pride Month. Like, just fucking say it, dude. That was a stupid move by Nick. He should have stayed with the first judge. I mean, he was probably fucked no matter what he did. Because the first judge was probably thinking to himself, like, yeah, who's a stupid son of a bitch now? Who's a stupid bastard now, huh, Nick?
But it was proven beyond the shadow of a doubt that they were a catfish, though I'm not too sure Nick would even care if his parasocial girlfriend came with an extra Frankfurter. Fortunately for Nick, this never resulted in some kind of big Mandygate moment and just continued to be discussed in KF. However, one threat, if we can call it a threat, did rear its head during August 2023, when Nick was sued. The validity of this lawsuit, however, is highly questionable, because it was a RICO case, which, if you don't know, is the kind of lawsuit usually put together to break up organized crime activity. In reality, reality, it seemed to be a glorified defamation and hate speech thing dressed up as a RICO for whatever reason. And because of how stupid that was, it never really got off the ground. No, for Nick to be taken down with an injustice like this would be much too poetic, too heroic an ending for his story. It would take a martyr, and that he is not. He is a lol cow, plain and simple, and a self-made one at that, with more than enough opportunities to redeem himself, or at least preserve his image by not exposing humiliating details of his private life at random to.
Can we pause just for a moment? And I want to clap it up for Turkey Tom for saying what we've all been thinking, and that is that Nick is a fucking lol cow, dog. The dude's a fucking lol cow. I mean, he is the latest lol cow on the ranch, on Glenn Beck's ranch. Okay, Nick misspelled the county, so the court could have rejected the motion for a change in jail, but they accepted it. Change in judge, but they accepted it anyways because no, guys. Think about this. Think about this for a second. If all these theories, and there's some wild fucking theories, all right? If all these theories about, oh, the church was out to get him, the county's out to get him, Joe Biden's out. Joe Biden doesn't give a shit about Nick Rekieta. There's like all these crazy theories out there. Guys, if the county was really out to get him, they wouldn't have granted the request in the first place. They would not have granted the request in the first place because the judge that he had before was a judge that he pissed off. He talked shit about the judge on stream. And the judge was aware of this. So if they wanted to fuck with him, they would have just left him with the old judge. They granted his request. So why would they do that if they were trying to fuck around with him? It makes no sense. Bill Clinton is after his ass? Like, dude. Robert, like, listen, Barnes was talking about this and was talking. Wait, was it Barnes? Or was it. I forget who it was. But, anyways, one of the defenders was talking about how, like, comparing Nick to the fucking Jews during the Holocaust. Like saying that the people that ratted Nick out, apparently they are equivalent to the people that turned in Jews to the Third Reich. Are you people out of your fucking mind? Like the theories y'all are coming. I mean, Jesus Christ. Like y'all really don't believe that the government or the cops have any role whatsoever in protecting innocent people. They should just let the chips fall where they may. Even though we're talking about fucking children here that have no way to protect themselves, that don't have a voice. That's why they're fucking there, you idiots. Oh my God. Like, people are fucking crazy. All right, let's catch up with the chat. JFK is after him too. Of course he is. Yes, they're calling everyone George Soros. Yeah, it's a whole fucking George Soros theory bullshit. It's like these people. I mean, here's what it comes down to. These people don't want the government getting involved in shit because they want to live these degenerate fucking lives where they can do whatever they want. They can abuse their kids. They can just run wild like a bunch of fucking children that never grew up. They're a bunch of fucking man-childs, and they don't want the government coming in and telling them, no, you have to act like a fucking adult. No, you have to live up to a certain standard. That's their idea of freedom. It's just total chaos and anarchy. And it's fucking sick. Who cares about who gets hurt? Fuck them. That's the way these people think. Nick spearheads MAGA Democrat. Rural Minnesota is destroying Trump's biggest. What are you talking about? No, he doesn't. Nick Rekieta is not Trump's biggest asset. What the fuck? Big brain move by the court system to appoint a judge they knew he would object to. Then bring in another one that is harsher. The old switcheroo. Guys, listen. This is what you need to understand. When it comes to a conflict of interest, when it comes to like the judge or lawyers, whatever it may be, it doesn't matter. Like, okay, for example, like the first judge that Nick had, because he talked bad about that judge, that does not matter. That does not warrant a conflict of interest, because that was something that Nick did. The judge never did anything. Now, if the judge had done something against Nick at some point, that would be a conflict of interest. The fact that Nick Rekieta is a junkie child neglector and this new judge he has is harsh against child neglectors is not a conflict of interest. Like, a conflict of interest is a very fucking specific thing. And I don't think people really like, people think, okay, people want to say, all right, like if I'm a fan of Tennessee football. So if I was a judge and you have an Alabama fan come into my court, oh, that's a fucking conflict of interest because Tennessee's rivals Alabama. It's like, no, dipshit. That has nothing to do with whether I can make a reasonable, fair decision. I mean, the logic is fucking exactly, Eric. People are fucking morons. People want to go out here and act like they understand the fucking law. They don't. They don't. You people are armchair lawyers. A government psyop my ass. I swear, man, these fucking right-wing, crazy-ass libertarian types are always looking for an enemy in the shadow, and it's always the fucking government. It's never the corporations. It's never. It's always the government. It's never bad people, just bad average people, regular citizens. Oh no, if we don't, the government's trying to stop a drug addict from neglecting his kids. The government's the bad guy infringing on his rights. Like what the fuck? Like, is that how these guys see Nick Rekieta? He's a civil rights hero standing up for our right to neglect our kids. Like, fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you, man. This is a ploy by the Kennedy family. Of course it is. Of course it is. The dude's taking a page out of Rekieta's book, insulting viewers that this guy doesn't have the following to support it. Hold up. I'm not insulting my viewers. I'm insulting the people that are supporting Rekieta. No. I'm insulting people like EVS. I'm insulting people like Barnes. That's who I'm insulting. Like, the vast majority of my subscribers in my chat are intelligent fucking people. They may not always agree with me, and I may not always agree with them, but we can still have a good conversation. All right? I explain this to people all the time, and I've actually gotten new subscribers because of this reason alone. But I will give you my honest opinion, and I will always explain to you the reason for why I feel the way that I do. And you can like it or not, but I will always be honest with you guys. I'm a JJK fan. I'm not actually seeing JJK. Sorry. I'm a One Piece fan. I've been doing One Piece content. I'm not a libertarian or conservative. It's social Darwinism all the way. Yeah, Nick focused on an audience who would... Yeah, Nick's audience was pretty dumb. They wanted him to reconfirm their own ideas and ideology. They didn't want to be challenged. They didn't want to be challenged at all. All right. Let's continue.
The strangers watching his streams. When he was given the opportunity to put his foot in his mouth and say something dumb that would make him look like a goofball, he embraced it wholeheartedly. For example, in September 2023, someone in his chat brought up the topic of how moms having OnlyFans can negatively affect their kids, as the children would be embarrassed that their parent had that as a job. Nick disagreed.
I think a lot of them just say, yeah, this is what mommy started doing, and it's why we go to Disney every year. I think that's what they do. I think they just tell them because they're gonna fucking find out. And I would assume that their logic would be, you know what? This is a very safe way for mommy to do this. It's how mommy puts food on the table. And so I can do this and work from home and be with you and hang out all day and we can do fun trips, or I can go be a secretary and have people stare at my chest without paying me.
With this cope, the thread of prophecy was severed, and Nick chose to persist in the doomed world he'd created for himself. Reality itself decided that enough was enough, and it was time for him to meet the consequences of his actions and lifestyle, and it did so by invoking the cursed talisman of the Ancient One.
It says, the stars are aligned, a new host is chosen. Hail unto thee, Nick Chan Rekieta. And then with that came this, and this was so weird because this came before the mention of Sonic in the trademark dispute that we were talking about last night. A Sonichu medallion has been passed to me. I don't know where this came from.
It was at this moment that his downfall became inevitable. In January 2024, Nick took part in a debate with Destiny, and though many people considered him to have won the debate due to his better understanding of the law, Nick was visibly worn down. His clothes looked too large on him due to weight loss, and his face was more sunken than usual. While he was remarkably sober during his interaction with Destiny, probably because he knew what he was getting into and didn't want to make himself look like a total idiot, none of this composure was found on his streams, which hit a new low.
Message you have for your haters. Thank you for showing up. Try being less poor. Have you ever considered the fact anybody who's willing to sit for hours and hours at a time in front of a camera just so that maybe 5 people, but hopefully way more, maybe 500, maybe 5,000, but maybe 5 people sit and look at them and go, God damn, I want to shove my fist in their vagina.
He'd never been this drunk out of his mind before. Additionally,
oh yeah. All the people defending Nick. Oh yeah, he's fine. There's nothing wrong with Nick. Look at him. He's fine. Yeah. You know what? He's able. Look at this guy, man. Does he not just look like the paragon of good parenting? I mean, he could be a good father in this mindset. Get the fuck out of here, man. You cannot be a drug addict and be a good parent because all you care about as a drug addict is your next fix. That's it. That's all you care about is your next fix. You will put your kids' well-being in danger just because of your next fix. Just a regular family man right there. Yep. That's what they would like us to believe.
around the Mandy incident, it seemed like he actually tried to back off from the alcohol, but evidently this effort wasn't very successful. He's incoherent, talking about random insane shit, almost like he's hallucinating. To add to the general sadness of the situation, he was now pretending to have some kind of deal with Rumble to make money off of his streams. Though it's very dubious this was the case, since at this point, his online presence was a shell of its former self, and even the normies had turned out, since his general wet-brained drunkenness turned every stream into an insufferable slog. In May, all of this came to a head, literally, as we're about to find out. Nick fires up the Nightmare stream, where he's in complete disarray, completely out of his mind, slurring his words, and constantly moving around in very strange ways. Many people thought back to his claim to have done among other things, during his stay at Hedonism, since there's some correlation between hard drugs and sensorial stims like rubbing your own skin. At one point, Nick received a super chat that contained a link to furry inflation fart porn, but due to being drunk past the point of recognition, he developed a kind of temporary form of Alzheimer's and went on to open this link 6 different times, reacting to it in a different way each time as if he was just seeing it. Unlike many of his streams that go on for almost 10 hours, this one fast approached its end at a mere 4 after this happened.
Oh no.
Oh, great heavens!
Funnily enough, even after this, he struggled for another half an hour to successfully shut his stream down. But obviously the damage was done, and his shameful moment was destined to be permanently immortalized. Nick had done a DSP, or had he? You see, the immediate assumption was that Nick decided impromptu to feel himself up, but the truth seems to indicate otherwise. Andy Worski, of all people, decided to do a deep dive into this catastrophic stream and managed to enhance the audio enough to catch that someone entered Nick's office, a woman who may or may not be his wife, but we'll get into that soon, and decided to give him on stream. Tragically depressing and insane as this stream was, it may have actually been the straw that broke the camel's back, as immediately afterward, the not so unthinkable happened. Nick was arrested due to a mandatory reporter's concerns regarding child neglect. The search warrant that led to Nick's arrest has since been published, and I'll be reading its relevant parts right now. Nick resides with his wife and 5 children, ages 6 to 16. The reporter indicated that 4 people from the church had gone to him reporting neglect to the children, possible controlled substance abuse, and a questionable relationship with an additional couple. It was reported that he and his wife Kayla had befriended hosts from a different local social media blogger. Those individuals were identified as Aaron and April. It was reported that this couple may have been staying with the Rekietas, and the home was in disarray and cluttered. It was reported by a church preschool teacher that the children had complained of being hungry, not being fed, and wearing the same clothes for 3 to 4 days at a time, and would start to smell. Nicholas was reported to be lethargic and appeared high or drugged driving a car around. Another individual advised the reporter that Nick will walk out randomly during sermons at church and has noticed behavioral changes in him. It was alleged Kayla looks anorexic, and Nicholas has lost a substantial amount of weight recently. One individual described Nicholas as having injection or track marks on his arms. While reviewing Aaron's social media video blogs, Aaron goes on to say that he has
Hold up. So the fact that when you look at how much weight that he's lost and how much his health has degenerated, Nick was dying. Nick has been killing himself. And I'm going to be honest with you. I think the man wanted to die. Like we saw the clip earlier, like he's just sick of life. That's what he said. That's what the man said. And someone with that mentality, that nihilistic, death-seeking mentality, you expect them to be a good parent? To be a good father? No fucking way. He's a danger to himself and everybody around him.
Experimented with cocaine 3 times and Molly 6 or 7 times in the past. Aaron did a video blog where he said Nicholas needs help and needs to get help for his kids because of his substance abuse. Aaron points out a time in the video where Nicholas has a white powdery substance on his nose. On the next page, the officer also remarks that during the same nightmare stream, Nick takes an hour-long bathroom break at one point and comes back with what looks to be white dust on his nose. These bathroom breaks aren't news to the people following Rekieta's downfall, and as a matter of fact, they've been exhaustively documented, as they've been getting progressively longer since December 2023, going from 3 to 4 minutes to 6 to 8 minutes to frequent breaks over 10 minutes, indicating that this was Nick doing drugs. The search warrant was approved and carried out, and we also have documents on how that went. The cops went to the Rekieta residence in the morning and happened to catch Nick driving as they approached. They stopped Nick and tried to enter the house with him, but he wouldn't provide them with a code to open the door. They proceeded to ram the door open, only to find the house in complete disarray, with clothes everywhere, dirty dishes, and dust. Keep in mind, 4 of the kids were in the house as this happened. All in all, they found 8 tablets of ketamine, over 25 grams of distributed in multiple different baggies, 2 22 casings, a 6 Sauer AR, a bunch of paraphernalia, most of which tested positive, and more unspecified firearms in the garage. Nick refused to speak about the drugs, but Kayla, presumably in an act of pure drug stupidity, asked the officers for her medication, and once they brought the prescription bottle she was asking for, they looked inside and found 2 unknown pills and gummies, neither of which matched the label on the bottle. Soon after the arrest, the mugshots were released, showing Nick with a black eye, Kayla looking completely strung out, and April, who was brought in with them. April, and by extension the Imholt couple, are a can of worms in their own right, but as was noted in the search warrant, at first, they were just visiting each other, and something happened to prompt April and Aaron to separate, with April beginning to stay at the Reketas permanently, supposedly as a live-in girlfriend. The people following Nick closely noticed that something was different, as they often heard noises that weren't coming from him, and saw a person in the corner of his office who didn't look to be his wife. One KF user even speculated that it was April. When the arrest happened, April's husband, Aaron, happened to be streaming and reacted to it in real time as he found out.
This is big for the show. April has been arrested today with the Ricardas. Do you know anything?
I don't believe that.
Is that her?
I don't think so. No, that's not. No, that's for sure been edited.
In another moment, Aaron went on to retell his experience with Nick.
I remember Nick ripping 2 massive rails right in front of me, and I literally put my hand on his shoulder, and I said, dude, you need to chill. I'm worried that you're gonna die. No, don't worry. It's okay. I read up about this a lot. I can show you all the literature and everything else. It's okay because it doesn't all hit you right at once. And I'm just like, what the Another time I told him, I go, this guy, like, I'm worried about this. I remember telling him one time, I go, my wife is doing a lot, dude.
Many people reacted to Aaron's comments on the situation negatively, suspecting that he was a lot more involved with incentivizing these behaviors than he claimed to be. In the wake of the arrest, people decided to estimate what kind of sentences Nick could be handed based on the laws in the state of Minnesota, ranging anywhere from 7 to 15 years. However, when Nick had his hearing, which was accessible online, meaning people were watching it, it was discovered that he could be facing over 26 years in prison. Other online personalities reacted to it too. For example, Dick Masterson, one of Nick's most steadfast allies throughout his entire career, admitted that it was indefensible, though people didn't take this seriously as many saw Dick as an enabler of Nick's, incentivizing him to go on doing drugs. Another person who entered the peanut gallery was Ethan Ralph, who first virtue signaled about having tried to get Nick sober in private, talk about the blind leading the blind, and then proceeded to sell cheap, shitty merchandise related to Nick's arrest. On the 24th of May, April had an early release, which many speculate is due to her cooperating with the government against Nick. This would be peak poetic justice. Not only did the drugs get him arrested, but his side piece snitched on him, as if his entire lifestyle acted in unison to betray him. Just a few hours after April's release, Nick was also released on bail. As soon as he was out, he made a post to his locals saying, "Obviously a lot has happened. I'm sorry. For legal purposes, it must be reiterated that the sorry is for the disruption and is in no way related to any pending legal matters. That said, please realize that no one has the full story or picture of anything. It's possible no one ever will. Nothing reported is accurate, and that's not their fault." But this was far from the only time he spoke out after his release. Soon after, DMs he'd sent to a group chat he was in leaked, claiming the neglect report was BS from someone who was out to get him. Funnily enough, when one of the people in the chat accuses him of doing at 8 a.m. while his kids are watching cartoons, the only thing Nick can be seen objecting to is the 8 a.m. part. The highlight of this set of DMs is when Nick says, and I'll obviously paraphrase to avoid getting demonetized, "If you think my kids ever went hungry or were neglected, please phantom tax yourself."
What the Sigma?
He keeps suggesting that this was some random person who decided on a whim to try and ruin his life, when the list of people who attested to some degree of neglect just keeps growing. His congregation members, the mandatory reporter, the cops who conducted the arrest and actually saw both his kids in his house in complete disarray, and even Kayla's sister, apparently. However, if Nick is so confident in his stance here as he's portraying himself to be, why is it that he chose to pay the bail, which was set at $50,000, by the way, just so that he wouldn't have to do a drug test? Of course, it's his right to not get drug tested and all of that, but it's not exactly a secret he was on drugs, especially given the things found in his house. Another sign of Nick having some undisclosed hang-up with transparency regarding his situation is the fact that he could, at any moment, consent to the release of the arrest footage from the officer's body cam, but he didn't do that. Regardless, it's likely that after the release of this video, the footage will be made public, as Kiwi Farms' Null has already successfully raised the $6,000 necessary to pay for its release.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit. They got the money. Told you, man. Kiwi Farms doing the Lord's work out here. Body cam footage incoming, ladies and gentlemen.
Additionally, people were asking for Nick's court hearings to be live streamed, a position he himself had already advocated for, saying all hearings should always be live streamed for the security of everyone involved.
One of the reasons that video is critical and should be in every single courtroom in every single case. Video and transparency of the courts is something I'm pretty passionate about. One, because I'm self-interested in making money off of them. Two, because it protects the people from judicial abuse or abuse by the state. And three, because it protects the citizenry from lies by people about the abuse of the state.
I'm honestly not sure if he still believes in this, though. A while after his
yeah, he might be walking that back today. I'm just saying.
Locals post, he took to Twitter to address a few things, saying, "I'm doing fine, given the circumstances. Getting things organized, reorganizing my studio, since I'm removing alcohol as a theme officially, and trying to reset my sleep schedule to be more daytime friendly." While this is a great sign he's recognized something was wrong with his lifestyle, he still adamantly denies any neglect ever went on, and I just hope that isn't a sign he's taking sobriety less seriously than he should be. While his decisions have been reprehensible, to say the least, to some extent I feel bad for Nick. He fell for the lie that you can do these sorts of things without suffering the consequences eventually, and at least appears to be under the delusion that what happened to him was due to some vindictive person trying to get at him, not his own fault for letting it get that bad in the first place. Of course, I feel much worse for his kids who are being put through all of this. Some of them not even understanding what happened since, as the warrant stated, the youngest is just 6 years old. He had everything a man could ever dream of, and still, it wasn't good enough for him. And in his
just 6 years old. But no, EVS, Dick Masterson. No. You know, just 6 years old. It's a kid's fault, man. They need to take care of themselves. A 6-year-old can't take care of themselves? Are you fucking nuts?
his pursuit of ultimate pleasure, he came dangerously close to his ultimate demise. Even if he doesn't see a day inside of a prison cell due to whatever legal ramifications may come from his trial, he may get disbarred, and his legitimacy as a lawyer and content creator is definitely tarnished for good, even if he does return to making the same content he used to make. I've been Turkey Tom, thanks for watching, and until next time, leave me alone. Watching.
All right. So, Jesker needs to react to Dear John by Nick. It's on Elisa Close. It's pretty keynote. I'll check it out. So that's the Turkey Tom video. And I gotta say, man, right off the bat, it's over, man. Like, stick a fork in this turkey. It's done. I mean, when you've hit the level to where Turkey Tom is doing I mean, here's the thing. Turkey Tom did a video on Nick Rekieta before he did a video on Eric July. First of all, didn't see that coming. Second of all, once you do have a Turkey Tom video made about you, it's pretty much over. It's pretty much done at that point. It is so obvious to everybody that is willing to open their eyes, to not just hide from the truth, hide from the fact. It is so obvious to everyone the truth of this situation. He was a neglectful father. He was a junkie, an addict who put his pleasure, his lust, and his greed above the well-being of his children. That is obvious. He is a hypocrite that spent years and years and years promoting these traditional Christian values only to abandon them. That is obvious. That is clear. And yet there's some people that refuse to see it. Why? Because he's my friend. Or he's one of us. He's standing up to the evil, liberal establishment. Or, quite simply, I have a financial interest invested in Nick. It's like, so you're either doing this because of misguided loyalty, politics, or money. Money. Fuck morality. Fuck principles. No. Fuck all that. He's one of us, so we got to stick by him. The people that turned him in are like the people that reported the Jews to the Third Reich. This is all a plot by Joe Biden. It's like, you people are out of your fucking minds. All of you defending Nick Rekieta, you're out of your fucking minds. You live in an alternate reality. Get help. Stop it. Get some help.